If you like really big physical things, blowing up, and if you like that stuff, yeah, it's very exciting.
There are no little shots. There's no like, hey, we're gonna do the simple scene now. We're gonna do the. There isn't any such thing.
It's so large in my imagination. I can't see. I have got no idea about how it's gonna feel.
Yeah.
It's a very involved and very labor-intensive sequence with so many people and so many hundreds of crafts all working together.
We had this really strong sense this was one of the most complex sequences that anybody had ever attempted. I mean, it was going to involve everything, live action and miniatures and motion-based, large sets, lots of CG, really complex scenes. And we had to make all of that fit together so that you never felt like you were seeing all these different kinds of technologies.
This is for a CG character in the battle in Zion. And, will be replaced with I guess, computer-generated images of us.
It's a rig they used on another film.
We're calling it the PMS strip, but it means please make it stop.
I thought, oh, this could be very handy as a Sentinel arm.
We're actually going to be able to pick people up and just whip them around like they're on the end of a tentacle and flip them off.
We did what they referred to as motion capture, where the guys had sensors on them and they went through the stunt action, and it was all captured on computer.
Beyond 30 feet or so, we think that we can trick the eye pretty easily. And so all of that cyberware stuff and UCAP and all that was really to make all these peripheral characters and secondary action around the battle.
We have points on the person's body. And we have all these 28 cameras. Each one looks at the points and it figures out where it is in space. So we take each of these points, and if you have 2 points on your hand and you're moving like this, we see these points like this. If you want to be able to take a computer image and make it look exactly like a person, how it moves, you have to do this motion capture process. You just have to.
A little bit more off to the side earlier, like so he gets picked up and he gets taken over here and shucking around? Yeah, like you just went woof.
Right, listen up. It changes that. It'll flick up and we'll go a diagonal.
The thing I love about motion capture is that this system is the closest thing to Neb docking chairs that we have. Actors come down here, we put sensors on them, and we put them directly in the computer.
Stand by, quiet,
a little closer to the real Matrix.
And John, rolling on take 4. Ready, speed.
And Glenn.
That was the best one so far. Great, Glenn. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Good.
3, 2, 1.
The way we could change that around a little bit too would be to run something behind the bunker.
Oh, yeah. Do you want a walkway like that, then?
We're going to keep to the horizontal and vertical sort of orientation like that.
Yeah, a couple like that.
We chose to go with miniatures because we had a lot of destruction to do.
You can't beat it for getting tactile interaction when things are blowing up or being destroyed or smashed. You get a lot of stuff for free right in front of camera.
Most of the things that are being built primarily involve special effects, physical effects.
There's one element in here that's not quite right. It's a giveaway, then you're not going to believe it. You certainly see older films where they tried certain visual effects and it's a dead giveaway. And it usually always has to do with water, smoke, or fire.
It should look seamless. I mean, you shouldn't really be able to tell the difference between live action, visual effects, and miniatures.
I wanted to draw stuff so you could see how it worked, and so that if they built it, it wasn't just impressions of things.
All right. There, do that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope. We'll get art from the art department, and also art department will generate a mock-up model, a 3D miniature of what we're going to be building. From that, they then generate blueprints like these here that they use in live action, and they also generate the animatic models. And then the animatic models can be handed back to us, and we'll do model unit blueprints from those. And then we'll also do laser cuts and CNC files from those. Adam and I will take our AutoCAD files from the computer room in there, and we'll run them through a program that'll translate all the CAD data into an actual tool path that tells the head where to go. And throw in a new sheet.
Pre-breaking it strategically so that in the scene in which this is in, it's a crash sequence of the Mjolnir, it'll break realistically.
All these amazing people working and real artists working and real craftsmen working. We have the most talented crew. It's just phenomenal. You know, and it's not all computer. Nothing against computers, though.
So this is the final result of all the work that the whole team does. You know, things like this grill, all the very intricate little planier details are all laser cut. A lot of these walls here, and then the model makers come in and all the little greebly details and the texture and rivets and stuff, they've added all those and kind of made the whole thing work.
This model's about 4 months of work, averaging about 12 people a day.
Like the first team that worked on this one were the welders.
Solid by carpentry, framing it up.
They'll build all the core structures out of wood and steel.
There's a lot of cast pieces on here that went through the mold room.
Then, of course, we have the paint crews that will do a lot of the texturing and painting, and then we also have the electricians that will do all the miniature lighting.
Things are changing up to the last minute in this crane topple shot. Some angles are changing, some dynamics on how it's going to fall is changing. So the tests we did 7 months ago with the big wooden mock-up of this crane don't really apply much anymore. So with 1 day left to go before we shoot it, we're trying to guess what's going to happen differently if we turn this at a different angle and where it's going to land. Even though this doesn't tell us much, it tells me a little bit about how it's going to land and where it's going to fall.
Everything we make, we blow up.
Let's roll cameras.
Same time, we were going to make a miniature of a particular object that was going to explode, like the gate of the dock. If we were going to make that anyway, then we were going to try to get that to be as good looking as possible and then photograph it to use as textures for computer graphics. So there are a lot of CG objects that are going to be in the dock environment that were based off of photographic textures of the same miniatures. So it's kind of a hybrid approach.
Go! Now!
It's really an epic sequence. I mean, it is just huge. And it's unusual because it uses everything that a filmmaker has at his disposal to create something gigantic. It is full of live action photography, integrated with CGI photography, integrated with miniature work.
Halfway up, all lightsabers.
Like, you know, just below.
Through tremendous breakthroughs in visual effects, breakthroughs in composite photography, breakthroughs in every kind of available electronic and mechanical medium. I mean, it's something that could not have been done ever until right now. It's just Hollywood at its most insane.
John, the way you treat your staff is...
Get back to that computer.
Howdy, it's John Gator. This is Anatomy of a Shot for Mifune's Last Stand, the big end for Mr. Mifune. This shot is the beginning of a scene. We wanted to tell a story right away about how Mifune was basically alone, deeply, deeply in the shit, because he's now surrounded by many, many swarms, and he's trying to hold them back with, you know, pretty much every ounce of skill that he possesses. So what you're looking at here is Steve Skroce doing everything he can to demonstrate the immense epic-like nature of this battle. You have a lot to look at. You have swirling swarms, you have individual Sentinels battling at the feet of the APU robot. You have the full dock environment, including destroyed zones that are in flame. And you have the main actor, Mr. Mifune himself, doing his thing. We begin the shot with a patented Wachowski boom-up, which they like to do a lot in that movie Bound. So they still like doing these kinds of reveals, you know, for horizontal plane to sort of show the action. And we finessed that a fair amount, actually. You know, how fast that was going to come up, what distance away, what amount of visibility. Would we start from darkness? So in early stages, you can see, you know, the architecture clearly, but we darkened it down a fair amount. The actual walkway that he's standing on is all CG, although it is derivative of the real sets. It's all based with components from the real set. And the entire dock itself is, it's a CG construction, but aspects of it were stripped off of live-action sets, and some of the miniatures, like the doors in the background, were photographed miniature doors that were mapped onto 3D shapes. So we got all the benefit of the detailing that, you know, painters and sculptors can bring to this process, and we embedded it into our CG version. And the first thing you see is that the Sentinels are right on them. Okay, so you got, like, prime time on the left. You just saw there was one on the right that just passed by that was sort of ricocheting off. There's guys popping out in the air all over the place. So he's, you know, executing the Sentinel underfoot with one arm while adeptly killing others, pulling them out of the air with the other arm. In our pyrotechnics shoot, we would capture perspective libraries of shredding full-scale Sentinel heads with debris flying off and flame pouring out, and there was a whole recipe for what happens when a Sentinel explodes. This is just a preliminary test evaluating the torque of the pan axis of the motion base to see whether it could spin the carriage fast enough. The basic idea here is that the carriage, meaning the seat that the man is in, since it is surrounded by green, it's going to be stripped off and composited over the top of the animated APU. The frame that you see at the back of the carriage with the red markers is actually being used for tracking. There are little pulsing strobe lights that will help us find the position in space of the carriage. We stripped off the carriage part of the APU that allowed us to put that on a motion base that could spin and rotate its perspective by way of a motion file, and put it in front of a motion control camera that also was being driven by a motion file. These are machines moving quickly, you know, in real time, and there's definite slop. It's a hydraulics-based system. This is like an analysis of the orientation of the camera to the carriage with the position of the APU's body. Of course, that's not the final arm animation. A lot of times what we needed to have absolutely correct was the torso and you know, the sort of relative heights and distances to the camera. The nature of this scene sort of relied upon a great interaction between a real human and the robots. But this isn't superhumans. These are real people here that are attempting to manage and operate these robots. So we figured, okay, we'll photograph all the acting that goes on inside them. It was a common design that was going on between the computer graphics group and the production design groups. It's one of the cooler interactions that we had with the art department was in the construction of this APU. As the shot continues to boom, we get somewhat of a reveal of the dock, which is obviously overrun now with swarms, and the dramatic rotation of the beastie revealing our hero Mufuni. It's a classic hero introduction.
Action on the mind base.
It's basically like a tank. It should look pretty formidable, and it should be kind of clunky.
This is a physical version. We had to build this so that all the human reaction could take place. We've got to pull Mufuni out of it, and the kid's got to jump into it. And it's not articulated. It's not a robot in the sense that it moves, but it can be repositioned. It can be posed for various shots. And it's taken a lot of people to build it.
We started the gun in April or May. We didn't start the APU proper until the beginning of June, and then we're hoping to have it close to being finished middle of December. These are pieces of the thing.
We're part of the arms. It's filled with a foam in here, plastic casts inside. They've got metal inserts.
These are the ammo casings for the bullets for the APU.
A mock-up carriage for the APU.
So it's being done in little bits and pieces and put together and made look 100 years old.
Guns are so evil, if you want, that I think I try to make them comic. If you want to make something fantastic, you add on things that people are familiar with so that they can relate to it.
It appears that art department has designed something based on an old M60 machine gun in the U.S. I mean, it's pretty impressive. The idea behind it is pretty cool.
Okay, this is full speed.
Along with building this APU, we've also built a carriage, a human carriage, which goes on a motion base, which is run by the visual effects department. And that motion base is run from the programming that the visual effects department have done. So they can put in the animated moves into the motion base, and then eventually they can take that human carriage and insert that, if you like, onto a visual effects one or a virtual one where the guns are firing and the object is moving in a very dramatic way.
They're driven by humans, as humans sit in the chest cavities. So you also have to consider the characteristic of the person driving it. So you can differentiate their movements also based on that.
What we had to do is devise a method to actually lock up, the positions of those people and have the mass of the machine that's driving them actually felt and seen in their body language.
And this motion base here is going to help us do that. Motion base combined with the motion control camera.
Both are being driven by files that have been based upon animations that we've been working on for months.
We've done an animation of the APU walking, and we've extracted some motion data out of the hips of the APU and have fed that data into this motion base and this motion control camera to repeat that same move. So basically the CG artist will be able to do all the animation for what the CG APU is going to look like, and then we'll be able to put a real person sitting on the front of a CG APU and have everything line up seamlessly.
Totally different way of doing things. You actually have to work to an animation rather than the animation follow you after you've done the actual scene. So it was hard work, physically, and really hard work, actually.
As you can see here, that the seat, which is just the seat portion of the APU device, is actually mounted here to a Moog motion base.
The Moog base is a 6-axis device that's usually used for flight simulation and motion rides, and it moves in 6 directions of force, so it can reproduce the moves you saw in the CG animation.
Here in the back, we have these shakers. They move at 12 cycles a second. That's to simulate bullets coming out of these Gigundo guns, and you see that translating into his body. I believe in you. You look up here, this is an array of strobe lights that are all file-driven based on where he's firing at the time. So they are firing off on a cue in relationship to where the position of this seat here. So this area here is dedicated to compositing on the fly, on stage, the results. So this is the whole net effect here of what you need, I guess, to make some. Of course, there must be a simpler way, probably over there, where you take the damn thing and you just shake it around like that. But it doesn't look half as cool, so we go to the lengths that we can.
The first film I saw about 7 times in the theaters. So when it came up, I just like I'm there, I'll do whatever, just let me in. I want to be down.
When I got the call that I'd gotten the role, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. I started crying and laughing and called my mom, and she was crying. She dropped a cantaloupe in the middle of the market, I think.
I kind of knew it was going on, actually, because I think I was cast quite late. All my shooting is quite late. I'd heard about it as a thing that was going on in Sydney before I knew anything about the characters that were up for grabs.
The possibilities that I would be in it began to firm up, and I was excited about it.
I'm blown away by it, really. When they asked me to be part of the next 2, it was a good surprise.
One place I do have to suspend my imagination is what's happening on the screens as I'm reading the Matrix code. And that was a little tough at first because I couldn't understand what Larry and Andy were talking about. And after a while, I feel like I developed at least a language for me, that a way I could talk to them and they could talk to me and I could understand more beyond the, like, beyond that. And we come up with sentences that sort of sum up the kind of feeling that I understood and Larry and Andy understood. There was a lot of scenes too. It was like 22 scenes, so first, 20, they were a little tough. We got a serious situation here, sir. Performing his duties on the Neb, he is a soldier. He is there, he knows where his position is, what he's supposed to do, what his job is, and that's what it's about. When he gets to go home is when he gets to be in love. And he gets to be in love with his wife and with his sister-in-law and the kids, and he gets to let it all hang out. The one thing that Link does do, which I think is really interesting, and that his name is Link, is he sort of is an interesting link between the audience and the movie. In the movie, a lot of things are happening and nobody seems to be paying attention, like Neo's flying through the air, and it's like, just another day at the office, except for Link, who's like, oh my God! He gets to be the audience member in the movie. Yes! It was a real treat. I brought my daughter in, we both sat on the seat, and she was like, hey, Dad, is this where he punched? And it's like, yeah, and we just both sat there and loved every second of it.
I was excited, but at the same time, it was bittersweet. The first few scenes that I did, they brought Aaliyah up for continuity for a shot. At first, I remember thinking, okay, I don't know how to deal with this because I'm seeing her image and I'm seeing what she had done. So it was hard. Then I started, getting really affected and upset about the fact that she isn't able to stand where I'm standing and say these lines and do this role. And it made me cry on set during a couple of scenes. And so then I realized later that it was her helping me. For some reason or other, I wasn't feeling emotional that day. I wasn't feeling connected with the scene. So I choose to think that she connected me.
In comes Nona, and she brings with her just this enormous presence, this loving, giving, and also big forceful presence, because she's like a warrior in this thing, and she's no joke. And the scenes that we share are all really touching and loving.
I think that she loves Link, and Link is about all she's got left.
They're evacuating our level. We have to go. I'm not going with you.
I just love how crazy that siege scene is. It's just so much action going on all at one time, and we're doing it with the green screen, with imagining stuff coming down, and it reads off the page. You can see it as you're reading it.
Action. Yes! It's crazy. I knew it was an action film, but I didn't really expect that there would be quite so much action.
It was real.
It looks amazing, that thing coming down, isn't it?
my thing was real. I was like, ah!
Yeah, oh, so was mine. Yeah, I had to get myself some muscles. That's been an experience too. I'd never been to a gym before, and for the last 4 months I've been there every day, so a bit of a challenge. There's one particular scene last Friday week which I found was a real struggle physically, and I was in pain. Like, literally bruises everywhere and chafes.
All right.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do that too many more times. Sort of impressed with my head wound. But the scenes have been just mainly combat. I have a massive bazooka that's very heavy, and Z's shoving artillery into the back of it.
So, you know, like, Nadia can be up there on the platform and you can, like, you know, stick it down in the hole and pretend as if she's feeding it to you, you know what I mean?
And that's what we do together. We're just coming in and out of hatches, shooting baddies and disappearing. She has a really unfortunate interaction with a Sentinel, and she cops it sweet. Melodrama.
That was good.
Just give me one clean shot.
The brothers are from Chicago, as well as being huge Bull fans. I share that with them. I'm from Chicago, and I'm a big sports fan. And I'm a former seminarian. I studied to be a priest for about 5 years. And they were a lot like guys I went to school with. There was a description that came out on the breakdowns that said, looking for somebody who could physically go toe-to-toe with Fishburne. We both are in love with Niobe, played by Jada Pinkett. She's gutsy, she is beautiful, she's tough. She's the gal that you want in that situation. And it's very easy to see why we would love her, and I think that would cause some problems between two strong-minded, forceful men.
I'm going to recommend to the council that you be removed from duty.
Perhaps to his detriment. He can only think rationally. He really wants to believe in all of the other stuff, but he cannot. I'm going to be among the surprised viewers, you know, because when you're doing it, you look and there's a big blue-green screen or whatever with tennis balls. That, you know, your imagination is doing one thing. Locke is an interesting character, you know. He's doesn't get the girl in the end. He probably gets left with the, you know, he has his gun, and that's about it. You know, you wonder what's going to happen with this guy next. She goes back off with Morpheus, it seems, and what's he going to do? And I think that he has to reassess how he looks at the world. I think once he does that, he might get a girl. You know, you might find some perfectly nice Zionian or whatever they're called. So, you know, in The Matrix 4, Locke's Revenge, I think that it's going to be a really interesting path that he takes.
Mifune is a man of few words, but has a fierce loyalty to Zion, and he expects that from everybody. I mean, every time I go to work with the boys on 3rd Unit, they keep describing him as the John Wayne of the APU, the Clint Eastwood of the APU. He can do anything with it. You know? He makes it look like it's an extension of him. That's why I liken him to a samurai with that sword thing. It's just like a hand that he does. I went and had a look at the animation before we started shooting the big siege scene. It was extraordinary just looking at that, you know, and that was just a rough idea of what was going to happen. It was amazing because I was watching it with Keanu and Larry and Andy. And Larry and Andy were making all the sound effects that go with it. And in terms of filming, just the technical side of it, because everything has to be so precise, I actually had to adjust what I was doing to fit the animation. And so, in terms of technical skill, you know, I was learning all the time a totally different way of doing things. The machine has to come with me. Yeah. I'm already moving into the next move. That's right. I have 4 penetration wounds here, and my face is torn as well. We're talking a lot of blood and a lot of not good-looking kind of stuff in there. And what sort of made it funny was every time I looked at the brothers and they came out and they said, yeah, more blood, more. You put it down here. By the end, that was like a river of blood. It was it was getting in my mouth. And it opened my eyes to big filmmaking, you know, big blockbuster kind of filmmaking, which we don't often get in New Zealand, definitely not in Samoa, where I'm from.
I
I get to be the person who like won the lottery ticket and got to sit in the movie and be a person in the movie.
I've actually quite enjoyed this experience. It's taught me a lot.
The thing I'm looking forward to the most is being able to see it all back and see how it's all put together.
It's going to be fun to watch that on screen because we worked really hard.